Shalom Israel, all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors unto the apostles of GMS, honors unto the elders of GMS, and salutations to the Akim that on the four quarters of the earth that are scattered about, that are teaching this word in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. All right, this is your brother Malcolm from Chicago camp, coming back with another lesson, to edify the elect, the hopeful elect, and this is part 2 to the series that Judeo-Christian is opposition to the Bible, because it is, because they basically the first crime against the scriptures was their portrayals of the holy people and their portrayal, physical portrayal of the Lord's people, and given a misconstrued, confused misconception about what the truth is and who is what is what through imagery. And because one of the things that they did is that in Christianity, Edomite washed Christianity, and who the world ignorantly calls white people, the Edomites. What they did is they portrayed the Lord as being white, which the very first representation of Christianity is a lie out the gate. So they lie, and then they'll turn around and teach that color doesn't matter. If color doesn't matter, then why is it written in the Bible over and over again? The color of the Lord, the Lord's people, the color of the angels, the color of who your world ignorantly calls God Himself and His Son. It gives you a very in plain English, when you read it in English, and I'm sure in other languages as well, what He looked like. But the portrayals that they give were always in opposition to what is written. All right, and so I'm gonna look up that word portray out of the Winston Simplified Dictionary Encyclopedia edition with biblical references. But here's the word portray. It says to paint or draw the likeness of, depict, delineate, to describe in words, to represent by acting or pantomime. So okay, let's read the word portrait, because that's the root word of portray, is portrait. A picture of a person, especially of a person's face, made from life, as a drawing, painting, photograph, or like used especially of a painting in oil. Vivid word picture of persons. Portraiture, the art practice of making likeness of people, either in picture or in words. A portrayal likeness. So they portray the Lord the complete opposite of what He actually looks like. The so-called white man did that, because when he came to America, he came bearing this image during the and it seems like every week this comes out, but he came portraying this image, all right, which is Cesare Borgia. Okay, he came portraying Cesare Borgia as being the Lord, which sends the lie that the Lord's people look like Edomites, and that's a lie. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why you get so much opposition when the truth comes out to this day and age, because the masses, they're starting to know that now, but Edomites are in denial of it, and you have to understand that the Edomites are still in the position of power. So let's get some scriptures. This is Isaiah 42:9. Behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. So it's just like when we're prophesying. The men of GMS, starting with the apostles and the elders and down to the rest of us, we have for many years now been telling you of the things that are going to happen before they happen, prophesying. All right, because the Revelation 19:10 said, "Be occupied in prophecy." So real men of the Lord are going to prophesy. They're going to tell you things that happen before they spring forth, and then it happens just like they say. Just like I was watching a video with the elders, Ayathan and Elder Tazarawan were doing a impromptu live show, and the elder said that we're the real threat, because we're the one GMS, that the fakes, pretenders out there, and the so-called white man, the FBI, CIA, whoever they are, that are paying close attention to this whole the awakening of the Israelite people here on earth today, they know who has the true doctrine and who knows the truth and has truth understanding. IUIC doesn't have the truth. All right. ISUPK doesn't have the truth. Okay. GMS and its subsidiaries, the people who are offshoots from GMS, are the ones who are teaching the truth and teaching the fall and prophesying the fall of the so-called white man. Who is the Edomite? Who is Edom? Because you have to understand, the so-called white man never wanted the world to know, or his own people to know, that they're Edom. But now, because of the men of GMS, they know this. Because even their own people have been telling you this for years in books, scholars, but no one was really paying attention to that. Those books were not used in curriculums in schools, from grade school to high school to college. Those books that give you that information weren't being used. But now, with the Israelites being on the internet, mainly on YouTube and Daily Motion, pushing these videos out, now the world knows. Now that word Edom and Edomite is known. It's not just something from the past, that and those people were, and then because modern day Christianity teaches that the Edomite is done away with it. They died in the Roman Jewish wars. Well, the Romans are Edomites, so how did they die? All right. And the Jewish, the ones who were being like the Jews, were actually fighting with the Romans against the Israelites. All right. The Romans didn't go to war with the Herodians. The Herodians were Greeks, and who were also of the nation of Edom. So the Romans and the Greeks were the same people, man. Okay. The actual Herodians, that is. All right. Now let's go to the book of Wisdom of Solomon. It's Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter, in the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Bible, always have been, and there's a reason why the so-called white man removed it. This being one of the reasons. All right. This is 14. I'm gonna start at I'm gonna read verse 8 and 9. It says, "But to that which is made with hands is cursed, as well as he that madeth. He because he made it, and it because being corruptible, it was called God." And so the Edomite, this was their curse because they made it, and it's corrupt because it was called God. Okay, they put their face up and said that they're God. That's that the son of perdition, being exposed, man. It was written that they would do this. Okay, and that was the Borgias. They even had a television show, and if you really pay attention, they give you all this information in a television show. They put it right in your face, man. They were fighting and battling the Moors. Who were the Moors? The Moors were the Negroes who were the last ruling class. Well, some among the last ruling class Negroes that were in Europe, man. And they ruled all of Portugal and all of Spain, man. And they left many seed over there. So still a lot of Israelites mixed in with those people over there, man. Because their forefathers go back to those Moors, man. And the Moors and the Morenos being the real Jews, all right, and the Moors. When Morocco, I mean not when Morocco, but when the Moorish king fell and they got dominion in 1492 over all of Portugal and Spain, a lot of those Moors were put on ships and brought into slavery, man, and the Morenos right with them. Okay, and the ones that got away fled to Africa to the colonies along the west coast, which is why there are historical documents. Look it up. There's historical evidence of pirates, Negro pirates that were speaking Portuguese and Spanish that were attacking ships and things like that. Wonder who they were. Okay, let's jump to verse 15 through 20 now. It says, "For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child soon taken away, Cesare died, now honored him as a god, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices." So you got all these religious ceremonies that that go around this false image of the Lord, which was put up by Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. All right. Okay, whom were lovers. All right. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember which one. I think it was Da Vinci, and yeah, it was Da Vinci. And Cesare actually had a love affair. They were both flaming homosexuals, man. In my book, there's no such thing as bisexual. You can have banged 100 women, man. But if you bang a man too, then you're homosexual. There's no bi. You're homosexual. If you have sex with men, you are homosexual. Period. Okay. Verse 16. Thus, in the process of time, an ungodly custom, grown strong, was kept as law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings. So and the proof of that is there are plenty of evidence when the Spaniards came over here, who were Edomites, when they came to America. There are plenty of images that you could Google when they were forcing the natives of the land, who were Israelites, the so-called lost tribes were here. They were putting them to death, and you will see them holding Catholic crosses with images of Cesare carved in wood on it, as an Edomite version of the Lord, which is a total lie, because the Bible clearly explains that the Lord was a so-called black man, that the angels were black, that God was black, the Israelites were black, so-called. They really were brown. There's no such thing as black people, but we're not going to get into that in this lesson. Verse 18. Verse 17. Whom men could now honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his image. They took a false image of the Lord. All right. From far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition. So ignorant people believe that the Lord was a so-called white man. It's either ignorance or straight up racial hate and prejudice. It's one or the other, often both. All right, because I can't recall how many thousands of times I've witnessed white people say on the streets, highways, and byways, and in videos, that they know that the image of the Lord is false, and that was a false depiction of him, and that he was a Middle Eastern looking. Well, Middle Eastern, there's no such thing as Middle Eastern. The Middle East is the northern part was basically the land of Canaan, which was actually, and Canaan was a part of Africa, and Canaan was the son of Ham. And you'll say that the Negroes went into slavery because of the curse of Ham, but yet you call because of Canaan, his son Canaan, but yet you'll call the land that Canaan lived in the Middle East, as if he wasn't a so-called African. All right, the Philistines and all those people that the Israelites were fighting were in the land of Canaan. The land of Israel itself is in the land of Canaan. All right, which was that northern part of Africa, still on the continent. There's a little piece, a little connector there. All right. Okay. 19. For he peradventure, willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. So, there were actually contests between Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci who could make the best image of him. And so, just like in that very false yet famous image of the Last Supper, is just the Borgia family. It's Cesare Borgia, his brother Rodrigo, his father, his father Rodrigo, his brother, I forget his brother's name, and the one image of his sister is in it, because she's standing right to his right side over his shoulder. So it's those four people painted over and over again from different angles. Okay, Rodrigo, both his sons, Cesare, and I forget the other son's name, the older brother, and then the sister Lucrezia. And then Lucrezia herself posed to be Mary, and then the Pope referred to himself as the Godfather. And his son was the son of God, Cesare. And then this false, fake Edomite image during the Renaissance time was pushed to the whole world. And so racist Edomites being brought into power mainly through this. Through military might in this image. Okay? And then they also would take, and then they would lie. So from the Renaissance back down into the Dark Ages, they told you that everybody was white, going all the way back to the Romans and Greeks. And the evidence of it is in this book that's laying before me, this Bible in front of me, man. So, making the Lord pale was the beginning of Edomite superiority, man. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. In this King James Bible that I have before me, it says the flight into Egypt. And what is it showing you? It's showing you an image of Joseph and Mary, okay, fleeing into Egypt. But people looking like that would have stuck out in Egypt, man. Because Egypt was full of dark people in that time. As a matter of fact, the city of Alexandria, you had something called the Alexandrian Jews, man. So in the city of Alexandria, it was full of Jewish people. As a matter of fact, sellout Coon, who helped take down his own people in 70 A.D., who was the real person responsible for the destruction of his own people, man, was Alexander Tiberius, who was actually an Israelite who was in the Roman army, man, who fought for the Romans against his own people. And then Titus and his Vespasian and his son Titus took credit for it, and they built the Ark of Titus, but Titus didn't go in there. Alexander Tiberius did. And he was an Israelite that helped massacre and destroy his own people, man. Just like you got Israelites that are all in the police force and in the military now doing things to their own people. Here's the massacre of the innocent is the image of this one. These are the Romans killing the Israelite babies, which is why the Lord fled, man. That it were 2 years old. Now, the only thing right in that would be the Romans being portrayed as Edomites and Herodians. Okay? But the babies that were dying and the woman hovering over her sons, over her children, that they wouldn't be pale like that. They were so-called black people, man. Okay? As a matter of fact, let's get it. Let's get Jeremiah 14:2 real quick. You see Esau, and this is a King James Holy Bible, man. But yet, the words, and matter of fact, I'm going to read it out of this book. All right? King James Bible. All right, now let's read about Judah, man. Let's go to Jeremiah 14:2 in this very book. Okay? What those images are. Okay? Because, the Edomite is a racist, hateful liar who speaks lies to keep himself in power. And then he gets mad when you point out and call him on his bullshit. This is Jeremiah 14. And the Lord came to Jeremiah concerning the dearth. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. All right? Let's find that with my finger. All right? All right? So you can pause it and read it and see that it says clearly they are black unto the ground. Now I have before me also Jewish publication, okay, Tanakh. And I highlighted Jeremiah 14:2. All right? And the word where it says black. Okay? But when you read it in English, in the Jewish translation, it says, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah concerning the droughts, not the dearth, the droughts. Judah is mourning, her settlements languish, her men are bowed to the ground, and the outcry of Jerusalem rises. That's not what it said in the King James. Okay? That's not what it says. And the King James was translated from the Assyrian script Hebrew. But when you get to the word right there, and when you point this scripture out to Jewish people, they never want to read or speak that word. You can clearly see it. It says Kedar or Kedarwa, meaning they are black. That's a Hebrew word for black flesh people. They always get quiet or don't want to read that particular word, man. So the so-called white man is a liar, man. A complete and total liar. Okay? I'm going to go back to Isaiah now. I'm going to read Isaiah 42:10. It says, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praises from the end of the earth. All right? So the new song is that the Israelites indeed make up the Latinos, the Native Americans, and the so-called Negroes. And, of course, the scattered Israelites that are scattered among the heathen. So, yes, some of us are going to look like the other people, including some white people. Okay? That is a fact, and that is truth, like it or not. Because, you got your black power Israelites get mad, Because every Israelite is not going to look as what we often say here in GMS is not going to look like John Shaft, man, or Shaquille O'Neal. Every Israelite is not going to look like that. Some of them are going to come looking like so-called white people. As a matter of fact, we have a brother in our camp like that, and my sons have a brother in their camp like that. Okay? The young brother Yawadan. The brother Yawadan is a Judite, but his mother is an Edomite, and he looks like his mother. But, you know, his father is a so-called black man. But looking at him, you know, at first glance, you wouldn't know that. He has the pale flesh. He has the straight, stringy hair. But when he opens his mouth, when you talk to him, if you're around the young brother, you would know immediately that something's different about him. All right? You can clearly hear it. And then not only that, in his voice, he doesn't have that, that he has too much bass in his voice. You don't have a lot of Edomites that have, you know. It's clear that he's an Israelite, you know, just by listening to him. Okay, but at first glance, an unlearned person, you know, which also could be used at our benefit, which it is, and it is. It sometimes too. I've seen it in action myself. All right, but it says, verses 42 and 10 once again: sing unto the Lord a new song, His praises from the end of the earth, that ye may go down to the sea, and all that is therein, in the isles and the inhabitants thereof. And that new song is that salvation is for the Negro, Latino, and the Native American, and the scattered Israelites and them only, the elect of them. Everyone else is going into captivity and or going to die in this upcoming world's war. Okay, the ones who are going to get saved out of it is the elect. And those who remain of it are going to go into shackles. All nations are going into captivity under the Israelites. That's what the Bible says. That is what the same way they lie about the cuddle of the Lord, they lied about the message of the Lord. All right. These people can take that false image, go through rape, rob, murder, commit genocide, then set up laws and say that they're good people and they're Christians. And then bring in their people, and their people have benefited off the rape, robbery, and murder that their forefathers did, never gave any of the land back, benefited from it, got jobs, businesses, land, etc., and then say, yeah, we're good people. No, you're not good people. If you were good people, you'd have gave back what your forefathers took, man. And you wouldn't have perpetuated the hatred. But you pass it on forward, and you have benefited from what your forefathers did, and now you have to pay the bill, man. As we often use the example that if you go into a restaurant with a group of people and you go to the bathroom and come back and everybody else is gone, the waitress or the waiter doesn't care about the situation. You know, they looking at you to pay the bill, man. Well, that's kind of like what's happened, man. Let's get another scripture. This is Isaiah 33, verses 1 through 4. It says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. All right? And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously to deal with thee. And now you got all this white guilt and white apology. It's too late for that. All right, it really is too late, man. And that's only a very small number of you that actually have any remorse about what happened in the past and the position that you hold as a result of what your people have done. All right, when you can clearly see just by watching videos of people getting shot down and mistreated by police officers, and the majority of the white population that watches these videos still come up with an excuse to excuse the behavior of their people. All right, proving that drug enforcement laws are not enforced in white neighborhoods when white people do buy more drugs. All right, how I watched a video where the guy talked about how he lived in a part of New York, and that he lived in the northern part of the city. I forget the exact place where he lived, and how when he was in high school, they could have parties until all times of the night, do beer kegs on the lawn, do marijuana on the lawn and in the front yard on the porches, people having sex in the bushes, and no one ever called the police on them. But you go to the southern end of the city where his black friends live, they would, the police would go up onto their porches or into their backyards, and tackle them, put them in shackles, and take them off to jail. Now they got a record and their lives are screwed up. But the same thing doesn't happen in white neighborhoods. The reason why blacks and Hispanics perpetrate more crimes is because they're charged with it more. They arrest more of them. All right, you'll always hear me say, man, when you go up to the Gold Coast and all those nightclubs with all those drunk white kids and all those little rich kids that live on the Gold Coast and going up and down Clark and the well-to-do Edomite neighborhoods, the police do not patrol through their neighborhood pulling over their youth. If they did, man, from the high schoolers on up, if you went through their book bags, you're going to find all kind of drugs, man. Because they are some drug-doing people. And I've dealt and worked with these people for many, many years, and I know. All right. I go to events where my clients would invite me to events, and I would go to events, and there would be drugs in the open. They would offer me drugs, man. I just never was into that sort of thing, even before I got into the truth, man, because I was too into fitness in my body, and then I was just scared of shit like that. I just, that just wasn't me, man. I wasn't one of those, alcohol was enough for me. Alcohol and women was my weakness and my downfall. Those was all my sins. I never messed around with no drugs, man. That shit weirded me out, man. I wasn't never into that. All right. Verse 2, Isaiah 33 and 2. O Lord, be gracious unto us. We have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people fled, and the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered, man. All right, and your spoil shall be gathered like the gathering of the caterpillar, as the running to and fro of the locust. He shall run upon them, man. So the Lord is getting ready to do a great work, man. He's getting ready to gather us up from all the places we're scattered and make a spoil of all the people who spoiled us, man. And that is what gets them nervous. I had an Edomite, I wish I could go into my phone, man, who told me how I must have sent him a video. This is to be a client of mine, and it's a chance that he might be Jake, man, which is why I deal with him. All right? But I sent him a video, and he sent it back, said that was the most horrible thing he ever seen, and that he's getting ready to go to Switzerland. And that he's getting death threats all the time walking down the streets of New York, man, because he's a middle-aged white man, and all these blacks and Hispanics are looking at him like he's the problem. He told me that in a text message yesterday. All right? Okay. I'm going to go to Revelation 5 and 9. This is Revelation 5 and 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and open the seal thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to Yahweh by blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. See? So when the Lord died, he redeemed his elect right then and there. And the elect were with him in the beginning, man. You get to read that in Luke, the first chapter, the 70th verse. The elect were created before the foundation of the earth was, man. They were spirits with the Lord. All right? And they actually helped him in the creation. But that's going to go over most of you's head, man. And that's not the lesson. But I could easily prove that with scripture. Because anything you say, you have to say it precept upon precept. Line upon line. Here a little, there a little. So there should be 3 to 4 scriptures to back up everything that you say. All right? That's not the lesson, which is the only reason why I'm not going to do that. All right? So I'm going to go to Hosea 1 and 10. But if you challenge me on it, I'm going to tear you up. This is Hosea 1 and 10. It says, Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. It shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, because you're Hispanic, you're Native American, you're a Negro, you're African American. There it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living power. All right? So it's going to be, because the artifacts, the relics, and the history proves that everything that just came out of my mouth is truth, man. The Negro, Latino, and Native American are the biblical sons of Israel, of the patriarch Israel, man, not the so-called white man. They're the biblical sons of their patriarch, who is Esau, Edom, who is the only nation that's promised no mercy, man. Okay? Which is why they don't want people to know that. All right? Okay, and that is the rebuilding of the temple, man. The temple is you, our bodies, man, not an actual building. I've heard people say they're ignorant. So, all these Lisa Havens and all her news. Lisa Haven needs to stick to teaching the news, man. Truth Unveiled, man. That dude might be a Jake. He a little bugged out, but at least he acknowledged what I said. He acknowledged that the so-called Negroes are the Southern Kingdom. All right, Benjamin, Judah, and Levi. That those are the people of the Lord. And even though he's using Yiddish Hebrew to call on the name of the Lord and the Father, because the name of the Father and the Son is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man. Not that madness that he's spewing. Okay? So, yeah, and going back to Lisa Haven and your guest, with all the Nephilim and all that, you people err in not knowing the scriptures, man. you Alpha Omega Industries, James White and Vocab. You know, you err in not knowing the scriptures, man. Okay, but your church is false and fake, man. Okay, the temple of the Lord, I just read about it, is the tribes coming back together, their bodies, and I'm gonna prove that. This is Acts. Let me go to the book of Acts 7:48. Almost done here. This is Acts 7:48. Okay. Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. So any church you've ever looked at, touched, walked in, walked through, the Lord does not dwell there. Thus saith the Bible, man. All right. If you speak not according to this word, man, okay, then obviously you don't know what you're talking about. Because the Bible clearly said he dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So he's talking about a spiritual temple. All right. And so the temple being made is the northern and the southern kingdom coming back together. And that's your Latinos, your Negros, and your Native Americans who are on the corners who will make it all over America and around the world, who will make you uncomfortable by telling you this truth, just as it is prophesied. Okay. Let me go to 17 and 24 in the book of Acts. Okay. This is Acts 17. Verse 24, all right, because the Lord often says things twice. It says, I'll read it verbatim. God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So that is a cut on your church, your synagogues, your mosque. The Lord don't dwell in them. He dwells in his Israelites, his elect. Okay? That is the temple. Okay, and I'm gonna prove that with scripture. And shut you people down, man. So you church going people, stop going to them churches. The Lord ain't there. That's not what it's talking about. Okay? Church is supposed to be outside, and church is supposed to be taught by the men of the Lord, not women. So if you got a woman preacher, you going way off. Because there's scriptures that say that he suffers not a woman to teach. Woman can't be over a man. That goes against the order he set up. But this is 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple of Yahweh, and the spirit of Yahweh dwelleth in you. All right. Verse 17. If any man defile the temple of Yahweh, him shall Yahweh destroy. For the temple of Yahweh is holy, which temple ye are. So the man, the Israelite man that is doing this work in truth, sincerity, that is your temple of the Lord, man. The temple is referring to the Israelites being brought back together again. All right. So with that, I'm going to say all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.